hand out one more flower, I'm gonna lose my shit. Okay.
What the fuck? I started the last episode by saying I had a lot of flowers to give out. That was the whole bit. That was the whole fucking bit. That was the point.
Bro, I was doing the shorts. I was just thinking, bro has been giving out so many flowers.
I gave a
It's
warning.
crazy.
Viewer discretion. A lot of flowers are being given out. Welcome to the first ever Grand Preview. You see what I did there? Yeah,
I see what you did there.
From the Pitlane Pals podcast. Welcome back to the Pitlane Pals podcast, and welcome to Singapore this weekend. We are not in Singapore. Actually, we're miles away each, but we are watching the race in Singapore this weekend. Practice 1 and Practice 2 have both concluded this morning. And Leclerc and Norris both respectively have finished. So Leclerc 1, Norris 2, Sainz 3 in Practice 1, and Norris 1, Leclerc 2, Sainz 3 in Practice 2. So Ferrari and McLaren both look very quick again this weekend. Red Bull struggling very much this weekend. Max Verstappen, I think, finished Practice 2 in P15, and Checo finished P9.
We're obviously very sad about that.
You're very sad about that?
I'm not very sad about that, but I feel like Red Bull has always just been struggling at Singapore. I think Max has actually never been in the top 3 in Singapore. I know Checo won it a few years ago, but Max has actually never been in the top 3 in Singapore. So I feel like it's just always a track that they're struggling with, and it's always nice to see the McLarens do good.
Again.
But I think it'll be very, very interesting in the race for sure.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, that was the one race that Red Bull was not able to win last year. And Carlos Sainz won, and one of the best races actually, I would say probably the best race of last year. I would say probably. In Singapore, watching Carlos and Lando P1 and P2, George Russell binning it on the last lap. That was amazing. So I am very excited for Singapore again. And this time it isn't just because Red Bull is going to do bad or good, because we kind of expected it this time around. At least I did. But again, the Ferraris and the McLarens both look very quick this weekend. And I think there could be a very good battle in the front. And that's going to be really interesting to see. I do want to mention that after Azerbaijan, I don't know if you saw this, the McLaren rear wing was evaluated, and there was 3 attempts, I think, by Red Bull to have that rear wing be deemed illegal. And it did pass the 3rd time, I believe. If I'm getting that correct, I think that's how that played out. Because the rear wing was opening on the straight in Azerbaijan a little bit too much, and they believed it might have been giving them an advantage on the main straight. And a lot of Leclerc fans are mad about that, so I don't know if you saw that. But they did deem it illegal. However, I do want to mention this for anybody who might not be aware. They were not going to use that rear wing this weekend anyways. So this does not affect them at Singapore. True. They have time to work on that. So I think McLaren will be good this weekend. It won't be a big deal. And so I think it's fine there. But it'll be competitive for sure.
100%. I mean, Singapore is always a really, really fun Grand Prix to watch. It's gonna be amazing, and also qualifying. I mean, last year Lance Stroll binned it in qualifying, which also changed a lot of things, and it's just a very, very quick and shocking. He might bin it again. We don't know about that. And exactly in that race, Russell went for the gap as he crashed. I mean, it's gonna be such an entertaining qualifying, and it's definitely gonna be an entertaining race. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, in Singapore, I think this weekend it looks like it's gonna be rainy conditions possibly, so that'll make it interesting.
Which will also make it even more interesting.
Yeah,
that would be crazy. Someone who's not looking forward to this is probably Daniel Ricciardo, because there have been massive rumors, and at this point, it's kind of like almost confirmed that it's gonna be his last race.
I wouldn't go as far as almost confirmed, but it's looking like that. If that does come out at the end of the weekend that he's done, I will not be surprised. He did address it himself, saying that he wouldn't put money on him racing again, but that he obviously hopes, and he'll do the work. I do feel bad. I do think there's a slight redemption chance though. I obviously I would like to see Lawson personally, but I do think there's a slight redemption chance this weekend for Ricardo because he and the RB car this weekend do look very quick in practice. Both the cars had good pace. I believe Yuki Tsunoda finished P2 practice 2 in P5 maybe P6, and then Daniel Ricciardo was also lingering in the top 10 somewhere there. And so those are good signs, and maybe Ricciardo will have an amazing showing. But I think an amazing showing either has to be something he does specifically well, or he has to beat Yuki Tsunoda. Those are the only worlds where he somehow can manage to compete for a seat. But maybe this is all ridiculous, and it's already confirmed anyways, and they've made up their mind.
We don't know. We'll see. Either way, I'm very, very excited to see Liam.
I am. I think. Yeah.
I feel like every single time he's come in, he's definitely proven his point, and he should be there. And especially last year, he outqualified Max Verstappen at Singapore, which was definitely like putting the finger into the wound a little bit for Ricciardo. But yeah,
that was the really big deal. That was a really big deal at the time too. Is Red Bull was struggling, and then not only was Red Bull struggling, their junior team was doing better, and the guy who was on his third Grand Prix at the time outqualifies the Drivers' Championship leader. So it was not a great weekend for Red Bull last time. Doesn't look like it's going to be a good weekend for them again, but maybe particularly an exciting weekend for Liam Lawson. If this is the last race he has to watch from the sidelines. I think a Yuki Tsunoda Liam Lawson driver lineup is very strong. Very strong. And that leads for next year, we could have Lawson, Behrman, Kimi Antonelli, and I almost said Colapinto, but I forgot he doesn't really have a drive. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate for him. But at least those three for sure will have drives, and hopefully at least Lawson, I believe he will. We'll definitely have a drive for next year, and that's an exciting lineup of rookies. That's going to be one of the best, I think, waves. Probably the best wave of rookies we've seen come in since Norris, Albon, and Russell, in 1 year, and they're not going into terrible situations either. The RB has been a lot improved this year over the course of the year, and just this year in general. Well, I wouldn't have to say over the course of this year. They did struggle mid-season, but they're kind of getting their form back from the early season. But Yuki Tsunoda pulls out points in it, so it's not impossible. The Haas, it's a weird car, but it's a fun car. They occasionally will have this weird thing where they're like, all right, everyone else is on inters, we're gonna go on wets, personally. And we're gonna go to like P5 and then all the way back to P18 because we're not in inters and the wets are not worth it anymore. So Behrman might have some fun experiences, but definitely could be possible to score points in the Haas for sure.
I think so too. Yeah,
and of course Kimi Antonelli going into Mercedes. I mean, Mercedes isn't what they used to be, but it's still a Mercedes, and that's still going to be a car that's going to be competing for points every weekend. And that's going to give him good, proper, worth it fighting positions on a weekly basis, so that when it does come to them being able to be fighting for championships, he should be ready for it. Because I don't think that'll be next year, maybe not even until the next regulations, but he'll have time to learn.
Yeah. I think they're all coming into pretty promising looking teams, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they all on their own way kind of catch their footing. And especially Mercedes. I feel like Kimi and Mercedes is going to be a team to watch. Obviously, it heavily depends on where Mercedes will be next year, but it's going to be interesting. And I feel like also with then Russell in the team, how they're going to be performing towards each other, how they're going to be on track, if they're going to be fair to each other, if Kimi's just going to be doing his thing. I think that's just something that we're definitely going to be having a lot of fun watching.
It's going to be the first time we see Russell as driver one. Obviously, it's been very split performance-wise between Hamilton and Russell. but it is going to be the first time we see Russell in a position where he is the clear-cut number one driver for at least the time being, compared to a rookie. You know what I mean? And that's going to be interesting to see because Russell is reckless. And when I feel like with Hamilton, there's a sense of he doesn't want to hurt the pretty boy, the Mercedes, king, basically, Lewis Hamilton. He doesn't want to fuck him up. And he kind of feels like, the little brother. So that he keeps his cool. But if Kimi is like outperforming him or something on a certain track, I could definitely see Russell being a little over aggressive.
I think Russell is definitely a driver who can be reckless. I think that's definitely something we're going to be also introduced to newly again. Because, as you already said, I feel like that's definitely something in this season where he's really kept his calm and he's kept his cool. Mm-hmm. But especially as he was in the Williams, his attitude towards Bottas. I remember the crash in Imola. Like, he was ruthless. He was really, really ruthless. And if you're going to have a junior joining the team and he's acting like number one, Russell's going to bite. That's going to be really, really interesting to watch, 100%.
Especially because when Russell, got pissed at Bottas, that was in the heat of Russell's supposed to be replacing Bottas. This is the future of Mercedes. He needs to prove himself, whatever. So maybe he saw beating Bottas in any situation possible as an opportunity to prove himself. And he hasn't had to do that since he got to Mercedes because it's still just Lewis Hamilton show. Again, I don't want to discredit what Russell has done at Mercedes these last few years. He's been very successful and comparable to Lewis Hamilton. I'm not saying that he hasn't. But if we're being honest, if Mercedes is going to be like, do we want another champion? Obviously, Lewis is leaving, but if they were to be like championship with Lewis this year or Russell this year, they're going to say Lewis. Like that's just where it's at. And so I think there is a world where Kimi very quickly becomes a competitive driver, and if he does, who knows? We'll see. We haven't seen him in F1 yet. He's still very young. I would say it'll take about a year, but if he gets to that point, kind of how Piastri's caught up to Norris, you know what I mean? Like how
Piastri caught up really, really quickly. Like I feel like Kimi is gonna be definitely doing something pretty much like Piastri. Maybe even a bit quicker.
Piastri was a more polished driver, I think, than Kimi Antonelli. Coming out of the juniors, obviously. He had a lot more age under his belt, clearly, and he also... The thing with Piastri is everyone knew you could put him in the car and he'll perform. That was the thing. Yeah. But Kimi Antonelli is... There have been reports saying that he is the best junior driver, at least he is the fastest some people have seen since Max Verstappen was, coming up the ranks. And you don't get promoted, or even... He was, people were talking about promoting him before he even was legally allowed to be in F1. Like,
and he skipped Formula 3.
He skipped Formula 3. The kid is, as of today, is he 17 or 18? I know by the time he gets into F1, he'll be 18.
I think he's still 17. I'm not sure, though.
Regardless, the fact that we're even discussing that is insane. That doesn't just happen for anybody. That happens
it is insane.
For the Max Verstappens of the world. The candidates like that people are in awe of at a very young age. There's just a natural talent that in some of these young kids you just can't even teach. It's reactions, it's instincts, and Kimi Antonelli seems to have those traits.
Yeah.
So
he's 18 years old already.
So he's turned 18. But I know when he started in F2,
August.
he was still 17.
2006.
Born the same year as me.
Mate, I was born 2004.
I was born 2000.
This guy, he's gonna be in F1 this year.
I think about it every time. Does it ever make you like wonder what you're doing with your life?
It does. I mean, currently is a lot.
I'm not like upset with my current state of my life, but God.
Neither am I. But
God. Born the same year as me, and he's about to become a driver for the Mercedes Petronas Formula 1 team in 2025, and I'm sitting on my ass here discussing it as a fan. That is just ridiculous to think about.
It's bad. It's really bad. He's 2 years younger.
I can't imagine how people felt when Max Verstappen came into the sport.
How old is Lando?
How old was Lando, or is Lando?
How old is Lando?
23. 24. He came in at 18 as well, or at least he was signed at 18.
24. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's 4 years. Okay.
Piastri came in at 22.
Okay, let's stop this bad topic. We're just gonna. I'm happy with where I am in my life. This is fully okay, and I'm not I'm not hurt by the fact that younger people than me are already in F1.
Looking at Singapore again, kind of reeling it back to the actual race this weekend. Singapore is notorious for being a high downforce track that takes the longest on the F1 calendar to complete because there is no there's no track that takes so long to get around in a lap because of how slow it is. And it's almost it's similar but very different to Azerbaijan because Azerbaijan, while yes, it has a lot of high downforce corners, it still has a very, very long straight. There is no really long straights in Singapore, which I think makes the overtaking very interesting because you have to make lunges at very specific instances. You have to be right behind. There's not a crazy DRS train or a pole you're gonna get at this track, and so I do think it's going to be a battle of the pit stops, obviously.
100%.
And I think it's going to be interesting to see because we're dealing with McLaren and Ferrari, who both have proven at different points that they're not very smart when it comes to strategy. And I'm gonna look up her name because I don't want to disrespect her. Because I actually really do have a ton of respect for this. But the strategist, the head strategist at Red Bull.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. I don't know her name either, but I know who you're talking about.
I feel like an asshole. Hannah Schmitz. I wanted to say her name because I don't want anyone coming for me. Because she is absolutely brilliant. If you put her in the McLaren or the Ferrari garage, I believe that would have made either one of these teams a clear-cut drivers and constructors championship right now, winners.
Yeah.
Specifically McLaren. I feel
like McLaren is known, especially in this year, they're kind of known for using like kind of stumbling over their own pit stop decisions. Like if I think of falsely made pit stops or like bad decisions for pit stops, I think of Hungary. Like they put Oscar behind Lando, even though Oscar was leading, and they put Norris in a situation where he was like, "Yeah, I don't know what to do now. There's his championship that apparently only I care about, and now I have to give the place back to Oscar, even though you pit me first to put me in front of him." So it's like, it's going to be interesting.
Well, I know we've talked a lot about Hungary, I think once probably in each episode, so I'm going to keep this short. But that is a perfect example of just a weird choice. They still won, still finished
So
P1
weird.
and P2, but weird. Because if you didn't want Lando to win the race, why did you pit him first? And that would apply to anybody. Because if your decision at the end of the race was 100% going to be, let's make this driver win, then you pit him first. You don't let the other driver get ahead. Because then Lando was obligated to get the position back because he got it from the undercut. But if we're being honest, I think he was faster in the latter half of that race anyways. And probably
he showed it at the back at the end of it.
And so I think there's a chance that he would have won that race had he not pit first still. I still think that was a genuine possibility. Or at least it would have been a fight. And then you let them fight and there's no worry, there's no driver drama. So coming to Singapore, I worry about both these teams' strategy decisions. Because
we should write them an email. Please don't fuck it up.
Can we do what everyone else is doing? And that goes for Ferrari. I want
not everyone else. Not everyone else. If they're gonna be doing what Haas is doing in a rain race.
Well, Haas has nothing to lose.
No.
Haas is so funny because they never have shit to lose. It's like it's like really the pure American mentality because they literally go, oh, fuck it, we're gonna do this. So I don't mean what everybody does, but go in with the mentality. I'm just saying that I want to go with the mentality of I don't want this race. I want to see who the best driver is, and I want them to come out on top.
Yeah.
And so we'll
too.
see what happens there, because I do think that somebody's going to fuck something up, and there's going to be outrage from either the McLaren or the Ferrari fan bases. What else?
Well, we do have a heck of a race in front of us.
100%.
That's true.
Especially showing
100%.
practice, it looked very close.
It's going to be good.
I'm interested. And what can Red Bull do to minimize, again, damage control? Speaking of Red Bull, I almost forgot to mention this. Did you see that they figured out what was wrong with the car?
Yeah, they said underfloor from Spain onwards.
Mm-hmm. Spain,
and
2023.
like Paris has been saying this, but they didn't take him serious, I think,
because the Max was winning anyways. So
goodness.
Clearly, it's just Perez's fault. Which I am not saying that Perez. It's not his. They had the same car. He was still underperforming. Whatever. Blah blah blah. But I do think that is really funny. And I also saw, I don't know, we haven't touched on this topic, I don't think, previously yet. But if we have, then I'm repeating myself a little bit. But I did see, I think just today or yesterday, that Perez had been apologized to by his engineers. They like apologized for not listening to him. Yeah, it was like a report, or Perez said it himself, I think.
I think
Perez was they were like, hey, sorry for not listening to you. My bad. We kind of fucked up.
Oof.
So now they have to undo a year and a half's worth of development, basically. Did we disrespect Sergio Perez?
Did we? Did he almost lose his racing career because Red Bull fucked up?
You know that. Have you seen those pictures where it's like, I apologize to so-and-so form, and it'll be like reasons why you may have hated on
Yeah.
Sergio Perez needs a bunch of those right now. It's like, just fucking reasons that people shit on him. I was a part of the problem, but...
Me too, 100%.
If the car starts not only getting on the right path again, but if the car starts getting on the right path again, and he's performing well again, then... I'm sorry, Sergio. I'm sorry, sorry.
If he sees this, if he does tune into the Pitlane Pals podcast, and if he sees us right now, I will also say, I'm very sorry, Checo. I think that we uploaded a short like a few days ago, talking about how Checo is terrible and how we need him out to put in Yuki or Liam.
We said the Checo thing before. He also basically beat Max last weekend. And I think that's funny, too, because we said that the same weekend that we said that Behrman was going to underperform in the Haas. We're having a few bad takes and bad predictions. But maybe when I say anything positive about it or negative about a driver, that means that that's just going to go wonderfully the next weekend for them.
Exactly. We're about to do predictions, so we both are just kind of hoping for DNFs from Norris and Piastri, and... I hope Max is going to win the next few races.
Yeah.
That's going to be our prediction.
I hope. I really just. I truly think that Red Bull is just going to run away with the championships.
McLaren really should be disqualified for that wing, man.
Mm-hmm.
They should be thrown out of the F1 championship.
Yeah.
That's just.
Yeah. No,
dude. Black flags.
Yeah,
you heard me.
Let's just suspend. Take away all their points. Find them like we did in 2007.
Exactly.
And run it back, I say.
Yeah.
This is the first of 6 races left. 7, 6, I believe 6.
I'm not sure.
And we're currently at a 20-point lead for McLaren. A 30-point deficit from Ferrari to Red Bull, and Lando Norris, I believe, is 54 points or so. I'm gonna fact check that as I'm talking about it. Points or so behind Max Verstappen, and I really do wonder, if Red Bull struggles this weekend, which it seems like they will. If McLaren does not fuck it up, we could be in a position where that World Drivers' Championship for them seems more and more real every weekend. And it's going to be interesting. I know Piastri had a quote a few weekends ago where he or last weekend maybe, where he was like, I'm not just going to sit and let him pass me for the next 7 weekends. Which I do respect. I understand.
Yeah.
But if McLaren's performing well and that driver championship becomes more and more real, it does make me just wonder, what are the possibilities that Lando needs the points from him occasionally, or at least the support from him occasionally. He did say that before Lando had helped him win in Azerbaijan this past weekend. So maybe that'll help their relationship, and Piastri, if he's in a position, he can be like, okay, I don't know, I'm gonna block for you. I don't know. I guess I want to know like where that goes relationship wise in the team, and if they really do start, let's go full force into the championship.
I think as a driver, I feel like there's this really, really fine line to let people pass. It's like, let's say Piastri was running like 2 seconds ahead. He's in P1. He fought his way up. He went by Norris. Norris still managed to get P2. And then Piastri's asked to let Norris by. That's going to be across the line. He's not going to do that. If it is damage limitation, and let's say we have, I don't know, Piastri running 4th, Norris running 5th, and you've got Verstappen doing really good first place. They're going to say, okay, Piastri, please let Lando by. We need to limitate this damage towards Verstappen.
Mm-hmm.
We should get him on the fastest lap. We should get him in the front. So at least like the gap doesn't, go as far away from each other as it would if you would finish P5. So I think that's just kind of like where they need to find the right balance towards it. Because especially if Piastri's asked to let Norris by every single race, next 7 races,
it's not going to go
I
well.
mean, that's
it needs
not
to be situational.
100%.
And I'm not. It's kind of what I said in Monza. That if neither one of you are going to win, why not let the one leading or higher up in the championship by? If you're not losing anything else in the race at this point, it is you second. It's Piastri second and Lando third, and there's nothing else at risk. Not like Piastri's going to fall back to another car. Why not exchange the points in that way? And I get that Piastri's his own driver and he needs to go for his own best interest. I fully understand. And if it's for a win, I'm not saying that we should take a win away from Piastri or anything like that. Or even, favor strategy for Piastri. But I just think logically you have to consider what a driver's championship would do for the future of the McLaren racing team. And I know we talk about this every weekend, maybe how close it's going to get. And I think everyone's been doing that because it's the first chance. I mean, it makes you wonder what the possibilities are, and it would suck to see it wasted because of it, or because of a lack of wanting to enforce team orders. And you can have your opinions on team orders, especially when both drivers are doing well. But I really want to come around to Abu Dhabi and just have the chance where Verstappen is fighting to keep his lead and Lando just needs X amount of points above him to get a championship. That would be, like I said last weekend, cinema, popcorn. I am sad. And so I really...
Are you mentally ready for that?
No.
Imagine, bro.
No.
I would. We're set. We're looking at it. Imagine Norris crashes with like Verstappen or something, and then Ferrari takes the championship. Estimate how many days you would be depressed, because I'm not talking about days anymore. It would be weeks for me. Like, that would be rough.
I don't want to implement too much bias onto the podcast, but obviously we're both McLaren biased a little bit. That would suck. But I would still prefer
it would
that.
Suck.
All I really want right now is just it to stay competitive.
Yeah,
I just
true.
want entertainment. Last year really made me appreciate 2021 so much more, and I want that back so bad.
100%.
And we're having a great season. Regardless,
100%.
we've had an amazing
We
season.
are. Yeah.
It would be topped off as one of the best seasons I've ever witnessed if it just came down to the last wire. And so that's why I'm like, please don't fuck this up, McLaren. Please don't fuck this up, Ferrari even. because obviously Red Bull can fuck it up a little bit right now because they need to catch up to them. But that's what I'm rooting for. I think that's what all F1 fans should be rooting for. Whether you're a Charles Leclerc fan, you're a Max Verstappen fan, Lewis Hamilton, I don't give a fuck, Lando Norris fan. Just, do you not want to see an amazing race that not only for the sake of our entertainment, but I want the sport to grow, and that things like that grow the sport. I remember when Abu Dhabi happened in 2021, it was a big deal. There was athletes from other sports that I saw, like that I never see talk about F1, all sit down watching this race. It's like it was the Super Bowl. And that's fantastic. That's what the sport needs again. Because I love F1 and I want it to keep growing. Especially when we have new regulations soon, a new wave of young drivers coming into the sport. And one of the best driver lineups I think we've had in a long time. That could be, the possibility. So I really hope that with these coming races it works out. There's also 3 sprints left. So that could be more opportunity.
True.
For possible points. Yeah. Obviously, there's just not as big of a gap, but anything matters. So I'm interested to see how it plays out for sure. All right, so next we are going to rate 1 through 10 some of the helmets and liveries, the special editions this weekend at Singapore. It's always a race that tends to have a lot of special edition stuff. And so we have, I believe, as long as we're not forgetting anything, maybe we are, but I believe it is just 5 helmets and 3 liveries. I'm going to start with Alex Albon's helmet because I have a thing pulled up on it so that I don't sound stupid. And the helmet itself is okay, but it's a little confusing to me. It's probably a cultural thing I'm not understanding, because it features the Naga of Courage. And I didn't know that either. I was wondering what that is. Just in pure brutal honesty, I'm not gonna, whatever. Which exudes a sense of unwavering strength and confidence, prepared to overcome any obstacle and rise to greatness. I think that's kind of a cool layer to it, but the design itself isn't my favorite. I do like the blue hue on it. But I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
6.5.
6.5 out of 10.
I think it looks cool, definitely. Like it's something different, but I feel like I personally, as we're definitely gonna see throughout this rating, I'm more of someone who likes a lot of structure in a helmet, and I feel like for that it's just like a bit too loose for me. So for me it's gonna be like, I mean, it's still cool. I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Okay. Next, we're going to move on to Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc's helmet, I should probably give it a bit of a description because there might be somebody listening audio-wise, because I will throw the pictures up on screen. I'm going to commit to that so that I don't forget to do it. But I'm going to throw the pictures up on screen of the helmets.
Tell the production team.
Yeah, the production team. Me. Us. To remember to put the pictures on the screen of the helmets as we're talking about them. Anyways, Charles Leclerc's helmet, it's not that different. It's just got a bit of a kind of updated, enhanced, fancy, modernized look to it. Very standard, though, and there's not much character to it other than just kind of having that. It looks like it fits the nighttime a little bit more, I guess I would say. But I don't think it's anything spectacular. It's not bad. It's just not that unique, and there's no, doesn't have Naga on it. There's no significance. So I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Okay, wow. You took my rating. That's crazy. Is that loud? No. For me, honestly, I think it looks really clean. I think the red bit has like a kind of a chrome effect, and that's really something popular with no chrome effect. Okay. It's really something popular. I feel like in Singapore, it is chrome. No. I think it's like a chrome effect. I think that's what the red is.
I wouldn't call it chrome, because chrome is a very specific thing.
Like a reflecting red.
I would say it's glossy.
It's glossy. All right. All right. Okay. Talk with the production team. Production team. Says glossy. It's not chrome. So, but I still think it's clean. It looks really, really clean with the white. I really, really like it. So, I mean, it's not something extremely special, but it's a clean, nice helmet look. It's gonna look really cool on TV.
Fair.
Gonna give it a 6.
Okay. We're basically exchanging ratings right now as it stands. Next we have Oscar Piastri. And it's kind of got a chrome. This one is chrome, I would say, a bit more. I believe, at least from what I can tell, it's got kind of a chrome effect with some colors popping out from the, like, it kind of looks like a void, and there's a bunch of colors flying out of it. It's got a big OP on the side, the Monster Energy. Overall, there's a lot going on, and it throws me off a little bit because there's so much going on. But inherently, I do think it'll look cool in the nighttime. Same with Charles. But again, there isn't a ton of... I don't know. There's nothing that makes this seem like it's like some... If you were to tell me that this wasn't a special helmet, same thing I feel about Charles. Like, if in a way, like, if you were to just tell me that this was his regular helmet, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
So because of that, I'm going to give it, like, I like it more than the Claire's. There's more going on. It's more unique, and I do like the colors, but there is a lot going on, and so I'm just going to say it's like 6.8.
6.8. Jesus.
A little bit better
Christ.
than Albon's, but yeah.
I really don't like it.
Really? Okay.
To be honest with you, I really don't like it. I think it's a nice effect, sure. But I think having the blue and purple in the effect with the orange outline and the black, it just really doesn't work for me.
Okay.
Like, I feel like if you look at it from the front, I like how, but that's always with Oscar Piastri's helmet and Nano as well, how like the monster ring goes around it. I feel like it's a really cool design. But then, especially for a special helmet, that should not be the one, the factor that's going to make me be like, ooh, this is a cool helmet.
True.
So I'm going to say, I'm going to give this a 4.
Okay.
I really don't like it. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
No, you seem a bit
No,
hurt.
I didn't like it that much either. I thought it was okay. Lando Norris's helmet, on the other hand, is a beauty. It's got a kind of like a, how do I say this? Like a liquidy kind of thing going on around the bottom and a little bit on the top that kind of looks like, you know, like liquid but not like water. I would say it's more like an oil effect almost, in the way that it moves.
Yeah.
It looks like it's moving. Just beautiful way to use the colors. I like the black solid on behind it. It does look very unique for this weekend. It's a good helmet. It's a great helmet. I have no complaints. Other than maybe just, I don't know if it'll stand out a ton on the racetrack, personally. But other than that, just because of that one fact, I'm gonna bring it down to like a 9.
I love the helmet. I really, really like how he used the carbon fiber. Like how he just kept it black and then like with the popping color. It's a really nice design. But it is true, it's not gonna... I mean, it depends. It's really clean. It's really clean. It is up there. I think for Lando, he always has really, really cool helmets. I preferred his other helmet, like the one that was more actual like proper lines than the one he has this season.
Fully agree.
And I don't think this is the best helmet he's had this season. But I will say it's like probably top 3, because I think the Hungary was the best until now. I love that helmet. So I'm gonna give this helmet. I'm gonna give it a 9.6.
Okay. I had to not only have my reasoning behind giving Lando's a 9, I also had to leave space for Joe's to be better. And you're gonna hate me for this with all your because I know how you are, and I know you're not gonna like this take. And don't get me wrong, I actually do think fundamentally Zhou's regular helmet is better, and it's actually probably the best in the sport this year. It's beautiful. His regular 2024 helmet, gorgeous. He always has very beautiful helmets. He's a very fashionable man. He's actually like a part-time model. Very fashionable guy. And this helmet isn't anything necessarily amazing, but what this helmet did do is teach me about Zhou Guanyu's cat, because he has his cat featured on the helmet, and I discovered that Zhou Guanyu has a account for his cat specifically.
He does,
and it has its own page, and it talks in like Zhou Guanyu sits there and writes these captions that are talking as if he's the cat, similar to how Lewis Hamilton does that with his dog Roscoe. And I think it's hilarious. I think it's really funny. And so because of that, this helmet is a 9.5. It features a cute little cat on it, and the cat is adorable, by the way. Big fan of this cat. I think its name is Sweet Corn. Sweet Corn the cat. Got a little sticker on it. And fundamentally, okay, beyond that talk, the helmet itself, I do like how it feels cohesive, and it's not hard to look at. I can see it very clearly, and and it will pop on a racetrack and go well with the green car. And it does still have the design from his original helmet on the top, which I do think is very cool. But just because the cat's 9.5.
Are you a cat lover?
I like animals.
Because I'm more of a dog guy myself.
I'd rather have a dog, but I enjoy looking at cats more.
Okay.
They're cuter.
Okay, because I feel like this cat made a lot of points for you here in this case. What do I like about this helmet? I feel like the helmet's kind of giving Braun GP.
Ooh,
like the colors are
Good
a bit
point,
similar, which I do really like about the helmet. And something that I feel like a lot of drivers don't do, which makes me sad every single time, is that if they don't color the spoiler at the back of the helmet. Zhou did, and it looks so clean. Every single time you see like a colored helmet with the spoiler at the back of it, and at a karting track, you know you're absolutely wrecked. You're not gonna be P1 because he's gonna absolutely drive laps around you. But I feel like it gives the helmet like a nice, like a nice shape where it goes up at the end.
Feels more cohesive.
It feels more cohesive.
I fully agree.
It feels more tidy. It feels just more like it just works out better. That's also something I always like. That's the one like 0.2 points that annoy me with Lando's helmets. He never does this. He never colors the spoiler, and it annoys me every single time. Either way, there's a cat on the helmet. I'm okay with cats. I'm a dog guy myself. The helmet is giving Braun GP. It's a pretty cool design. Isn't my favorite? Is it beating Lando's? No, it's not. But it is an 8.7.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to give it that.
That's kind of where I was at with the two, is I feel like originally I would have just given it like an 8.5. It's a great helmet in general. Yeah. But the cat really gave it that extra point. That's a whole point for the cat. Big fan. For the liveries, I'm not going to touch them as much because they really aren't that unique. And they're kind of lame.
True.
Sorry. The McLaren one has just been done before. We've seen this before. Not this exact design, but the diagonal color change. I don't know how else to describe that.
Yeah.
They do a lot, and they've done it before. And it looks good, but this is my least favorite iteration of that. And it's, again, it's weird to bring a lighter car to a darker racetrack, in my opinion. I think usually you want to go dark and embrace the nightlife, and I don't feel like this matches this weekend very well.
True.
Again, I'm just a bigger fan of that one they had at Monaco a couple years back, or last year, actually.
Yes. I think it was last year.
Yeah, where they had the Triple Crown honored livery. That was way better than this. The significance was more important, and I feel like they've been trying to reach for that ever since. So because of that, beyond just the looks, but because of the unoriginality, and I feel like I've seen it before, it's like a 6. It's all right.
Yeah. I'll definitely be on your side with that one. I think it's just been there, done that. Really, we've been through it. Is it clean though? Yes, it is. 100%. It's really clean. I will say, I like the livery, but the racing suits are just not it. Like they look really bad. Again,
why are they so bright? Why is there so many colors?
I don't know.
And like bright.
I don't.
Can we like tone it back?
I don't know. Please, honestly, guys, like we don't need it. We don't need
The
orange, white.
orange black works okay, but the papaya
orange white is just
papaya is very bright in general, and then you add the white to it. There's a little too much going on.
And then with the special shoes, Lando has shoes for his helmet.
Mhm.
Did you see the picture on Instagram? It just looks terrible.
No,
like it
while
doesn't work.
I'm gonna pull it up. Wait.
Pull it up while I'm talking about it. While I'm rating it.
Uh-huh.
I honestly think I would give it a. I mean, we've done it before. Triple Crown was way better. Racing suits don't look good. I'm giving it a 5.
5.
It's decent.
Okay.
It's in the middle.
Okay.
Looks clean.
Looks good. It's
Not
just
the best,
there's some
the worst.
fundamental aspects behind it that make it weird. Yes, I do see the shoes now. I see the issue that you're presenting. Yeah.
It's really, really bad.
Because they both
Should I do the next one?
Sure.
Sorry, I interrupted you. What did you want to say?
I was just gonna say, because Lando and Oscar both did the kind of chrome, dark purple color thing going on, the car should have matched that, and that would have been cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
True. I feel like we should move on to the Mercedes, and I'm gonna say this. I can hear through your breathing that you don't like this livery, but I'm saying this. They cooked. I will say I do like the blue with the black, the red, and the white. I think that looks super clean. Something that has been bothering me on the Mercedes car has been the bit that has been grey. Because grey does not look incredible on the Mercedes car, in my opinion, and I hope that's okay.
Yeah.
I think this looks super clean. Is it a big difference? Hell no. It's not a big difference. It's kind of giving Aston Martin from afar. But it looks really good. I really, really like it. And I think it's going to be like... It's not the best, obviously. They've been cooler ones. But this is like 7.6.
Okay.
I really like it.
You
I really,
misread
really like it. Even though it's not that special, it's just neat.
I agree.
What?
I was gonna say you misread my breathing. I don't dislike the livery. I just
But
heavy but it doesn't feel like a special livery, and I kind of just wish that this was what the car looked like regularly.
True.
Why isn't this their? And I maybe get it from the like you said, it's kind of giving Aston from a distance. I'd fully agree, and there has to be kind of a Mercedes standout on the track, maybe whatever reasoning you want to say for that. But I just feel like this looks better. It's the same design, but it looks a little better with this color, and I feel like that would be just what the car should look like in general. But because it doesn't even really feel that special, it doesn't feel like a special livery, it just kind of feels like a different paint job on the Mercedes. I gave McLaren a 6. I think this one's a little bit better, 6.5. But I just wish this was the original livery. If this was the original livery and I was rating original liveries and we were doing a full season, this is what they're going to be wearing, this would be higher. Because special livery should be special, and this isn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I would appreciate it
Fair.
being if this was what they wore every weekend. So I'll leave it at that.
Fair. Next one coming up is the Racing Bulls. And I'm going to be honest with you. Would we be at Austin? I would say, okay. I get it. All right. Denim, have the jeans on, sure. We're like cowboy kind of vibe. But we're in Singapore. And Singapore is hot and humid. Like, wearing jeans in Singapore...
Well, it doesn't... Yeah.
It's suicide. And personally, I'm just going to say, the livery does not fit to the track. The livery doesn't fit to the car. It's just... It looks terrible. It looks absolutely terrible.
It doesn't look...
I really, really don't like it.
Yeah, I'll let you finish. Sorry. I have an opinion.
You have an opinion? You can make your opinion in a second.
I know.
I'm still gonna
like
I'm still gonna roast this car.
it.
I really don't like it. I really, really don't like it. I really don't like the way it's looking. I really don't like how they just like made the zipper as well. it looks so bad. It looks terrible. It's gonna be. They've been worse. They have been worse. And they are worse with the kicks, however. But like, it's a 2.5. Honestly, it's really bad.
It was so close to being good. It was so close. So close.
How so?
One,
Tell me.
if it was Austin, fully agree. Why the fuck are we? Is it a? Do we
Yes.
have a Gene car? I fully agree with that statement. When I first saw it, I actually had no idea what the fuck I was looking at. But if you had shown me this livery right away in Austin, I'd be like, oh, that's Gene's, because it makes sense. I would expect
Facts.
Gene's in Austin,
Facts.
not in Singapore.
It doesn't make sense.
And so that pissed me off as well. I also agree that this would be better on a different car, or if they just got rid of their original RB blue, because it feels like you have two shades
Okay.
of blue and it doesn't line up very well.
Okay.
The zipper is a weird choice.
The zipper.
The zipper would have been a cool addition, maybe like smaller, or if it was like a little like logo on the car, like a little picture of a zipper or something like that, like to show that it's jeans. I get that, but then you're gonna make it like along the whole side of the car. There was some good concepts and they fucked around with some good ideas, and that's what I was itching to say. Like they were almost there. They were almost there, and they just weren't. So I'm gonna say it's not as bad as you think it is, in my opinion, but it's a 4.5. It's a 4.5.
4.5, dude. Oh my goodness. Okay.
All right.
That's your opinion. That's okay. You can have it.
we can disagree on some things. It's okay.
We can disagree.
For the Singapore Grand Prix, we have 3 race predictions each. And I am going to say that we will keep track of who gets these right. We'll review them after the race on our race recap.
And the winner gets what?
Bragging rights till the next season.
Fuck yeah.
Whoever finishes with more gets bragging rights for the rest of the off season.
Yes.
You could be like, well, I think this is gonna happen. Like, well, who got more right? Who knows more about F1? So, I have 3 predictions for this weekend, and they can be anything. It doesn't have to be like crazy hot takes. It doesn't have to be just about who's gonna win or anything. Get creative with it, whatever it may be. For my first one, though, I will say Sergio Perez is going to finish ahead of Max Verstappen at the Singapore Grand Prix this weekend. And I say that because usually when Red Bull does shit, somehow Sergio has a better weekend than Max. I don't know.
Okay.
And if the car is now becoming more catered, you know, I'm clinging on to that. Also, just because in practice too, I did watch Sergio was ahead and had a better performance. Max did not look great when he did his qualifying lap. So that's my prediction. My second one is that Haas will get points this weekend. And the reason I say that is because Kevin Magnussen is back. And whether Kevin Magnussen has a good weekend or not, if he has a shit weekend, if he qualifies last, this man has 7 races left on his for probably his career. And he's got 0 penalty points on his record. Got nothing to lose. So if Nico Hülkenberg
He's a clean
is
man.
in the points or competing for a point position, what is stopping Kevin Magnussen for just throwing his fucking car, taking 10-second time penalties all over the fucking board? Because of that, Haas will score points this weekend. I'm not saying it's going to be specifically Nico Hülkenberg, but I think that increases their chance of scoring. So I'm going to say that Haas is going to score points this weekend. Lastly, I'm going to say that the podium will have Lando Norris on the top step this weekend. That is going to be my final prediction. Not a super hot one, but I do think it's a weekend that it needs to happen. And this is a tricky track where experience can help you a lot. And Lando Norris, obviously Piastri is very young, promising, and he's very talented. This is a track that Lando has driven more, and it is a track that experience matters a lot. And on top of that, McLaren just looked very quick in FP2. Specifically, Lando did too. He topped FP2, so because of that, I'm going to give him the edge, and I think Lando will win the Singapore Grand Prix.
Okay. Damn. Didn't expect that. I didn't expect the Haas one.
You didn't expect the Haas prediction?
I didn't expect the Haas prediction.
I'm putting money on it. I'll put money on it.
Putting money on it? Okay. I'm going to put money on the fact that Ferrari's gonna fuck up one pit stop. I feel like that's just like it's been too long.
What,
I feel like that's
to
like
clarify,
a bad habit.
are they going to fuck up a pit stop in the way that they're going to have a slow one, or are they just going to fuck up when they pit?
Harsh. I'm gonna say they're gonna fuck up when they pit.
So like
They're gonna
choose a
and
bad
I'm gonna
time.
say they're gonna fuck over Leclerc.
Okay, they're going to fuck over Leclerc because of a bad strategy. Leclerc, dude.
Leclerc.
Leclerc. What are you, American?
Leclerc. Okay. Second one. Did you have yours? Do you have them written down? Do you need like a scribble
No,
board?
it's okay. I got it.
You got it? Okay, great. Just making sure here. Second one. I'm gonna say both Williams will be in the points this race. Albon and Colapinto. Yeah, you can do that face. It's okay. It's okay. I feel like it's something that, based on the last race, Colapinto is gonna have a lot more confidence because he proved himself. Alex knows. Oh shit! It's not Sargent anymore, so I better keep my foot pinned. So yeah, I feel like they're both gonna be just doing well, and I think they're both gonna be in the points. Lastly, I think I should take a safe one. Nah, I'm not gonna take a safe one. The podium will be featuring 2 McLaren and 1 Ferrari.
Okay.
Full stop.
Now, this won't be a part of your prediction, but I am just curious. It's just purely like, who do you think that order is going to be?
On the podium. Norris, Piastri, Leclerc.
Okay.
Leclerc. I always say Leclerc. I don't know why. It's just out of habit.
Crofty would not approve.
I'm so sorry, Crofty.
With that being said, feel free, if anyone sees this, to cook him in the comments for the way he pronounces Leclerc. No, please.
What?
It's absurd. Anywho, thank you all for listening to our Grand preview this weekend. We've been very committed, and I'm gonna pull this right here. With the shorts and everything, we got to give ourselves some flowers.
Oh my god.
We are on it this weekend. We are on it this weekend. 2 episodes this week. Hopefully, again, we'll do previews and recaps, and then beyond that, just discussing F1 news. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all the social media platforms. If you want, you can listen to us on Spotify, and other streaming platforms of the sort. And yeah, thank you guys for listening to another episode. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time after the Singapore Grand Prix.